Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese, and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
Tenderness and kindness are not signs of weakness and despair, but manifestations of strength and resolution. Khalil Gibran. This is Get Real with Shameeza, and I'm your host, Shameeza Ali. It's a pleasure being here with you this evening. Good evening to everyone joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and on Island Zone Radio. Tonight, we have a special guest that will have a special discussion on an important issue that's facing a lot of women. As we go into that discussion later tonight, Athena Wynter will be here with us, and she will answer some of your questions, and we will have a full discussion on Peri Menopause. But first, let's have an open discussion. We recently had an election, and there was a lot of things that went down. People have mixed emotions, like many of you out there, but we are afraid to speak up. Tonight, let's have a discussion. Let's agree to disagree, but let's have a discussion. I hope that you guys will be respectful and kind to each other as we celebrate. Today is Be Kind Day. It's celebrated around the world and observed, and I hope that you found it in your best interest today to be kind to someone. I would love for someone to share their kind story today with us. But we also have a giveaway, and here is your chance. Our giveaway is kind compliments of Bidesi Caribbean food specialists serving our community for over 40 years. It's a winter box filled with goodness to make your festivities a little bit better. Now, here's your chance. Last week, we spoke to Joshua Datt. How much money did he save up to start his business? That's Deli. Again, the question is, last week, we spoke to Joshua Datt. How much money did he save up to start his business? All right, so if you guys can share the live and you can ask questions, we'll get right into that discussion about our recent election. A new president was elected. And I know many of you have mixed emotions about what's happening and what's about to happen. So let's discuss. What are your fears? What are your challenges? What are you feeling right now? So I'm going to go right to the comments. Good night to you, Sandra. Good night to you, Reza. Reza was on YouTube, guys, since 7 p.m. So that's about an hour, a little over an hour ago, waiting for us to get started. So thank you, Reza. He has been a follower from day one, and I think he's here almost every single week that Get Real with Shameeza is running. So I thank you for that. He's joining us from Canada. Good night to you, Joni Mohabir, Patsy Ramnarayan. Good evening, everyone. Diane Takurdin. Again, I want to thank you guys, but I also want to encourage you to tell me. You said he saved $10,000. Okay, we need some more answers. So please put your answers in there, and please share the live as you do that, because tonight's discussion is an important one where I feel as women, we definitely can learn a thing or two about perimenopause. We will have a follow-up discussion in the coming weeks about menopause, and then we will, continue the discussion. Let us know if this is something that you're concerned about, you have questions about, you enjoy these topics, and tell us what other topics you would like to see in the future. Good evening to you, Kamini, and welcome to Get Real with Shameeza. So again, right now we're waiting at 8:30. We will have a discussion on perimenopause with Athena Wynter. But right now we are just going over the recent elections and how we're feeling. So if you guys can share your emotions, if you have any questions from me, let me know as well. Who voted last week? Who went out and actually voted? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to say who you voted for. But what was your interaction? What was your how were you feeling? Is it who you expected to win? That one like what are your feelings? I know a lot of people have concerns about immigration. I am working on getting an attorney. She has been here on Get Real with Shameeza. I believe it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Indira Damine, she's a immigration attorney, and she will be on the show. We're trying to get her, but she has vacation booked, so she will be away. As soon as she's back, even if it's not a Wednesday, guys, I do promise to get her on so we can have that important discussion in terms of legally what is capable and what is not on immigration matters from an attorney. And many of you, if you remember, she was on and you guys had many discussions. She actually dedicated an entire day where you guys were able to ask questions. You scheduled appointments and you were able to have discussions with her. I don't know if you guys remember, about a year and a half ago. So Indira is back and she's willing to come back and give us some insights as to what the new president being elected, what his immigration status means for all of us. All right. Our family members might be affected by this, and so many others. So she will be here to answer your questions. Sandra said that she remembered her. Kamini says that she knows that Trump would win, and this country needs him right now. Genda said that she voted. Now, Kamini, can you tell me why is it you think that the country needs him? And Razia, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, dear. I hope you had an awesome day yesterday. And yes, you voted. Was the outcome what you expected, Razia? Good evening, beautiful Amanda. Welcome. She is in Florida. Yes, Reza, she is in Florida, and she resides in Florida. Her offices are actually in Florida as well. Yes, so she will be back, and she will have she'll be able to answer your questions. So look out for that episode. Like I said, I need her to answer your questions. So even if it's not a Wednesday evening, we might have to do it on an evening that she's available. Hi, Sherry Ann, how are you? Good night to you, Shallow. How are you? So I'm waiting for Kamini, I believe. She said that she thinks that the country needs Trump right now. And, that's, I mean, I'm sure you have a great perspective for that. Please share it with us. I'm happy to hear that you had a great time, Raze. Birthdays are a fun time, and, I love celebrating birthdays. All right. So, again, the question is, did you vote? And if, regardless if you voted or not, was the outcome what you expected? And are you happy or are you not happy? Good evening to Yukita. Yukita and I went to school, I would say probably over 38 years ago, we went to school together. We went to primary school, and then we went to different high school, but we lived in the same village in Ocean View, so we know each other. So good evening to you, Gita. Thank you for joining us. I know a lot of our my classmates, they will be joining in, hoping to see Athena and I have a discussion, which for me is important. So thank you guys so much for your support. Everything is beyond expensive. So Kamini's response is everything is beyond expensive, right? Many people can barely survive. And everything is beyond expensive. Many people can barely survive. And there is many people who came through the border and walk into our yards, and we can't get them out. That's a great perspective. I like that perspective, Kamini. How many of you agree with Kamini and what she's saying? Because I'll tell you guys, I did not vote. And the reason I didn't vote is because I didn't see anything among any of these two people that was the candidates. However, I respect the people who did go out there and they vote, and they have a right to vote. You should go out and vote. I am not going to do something that I don't see the value in it. I don't see any of these candidates as people that I would want for president, so I did not vote. To Kamini's point, I agree with her. I agree to a certain extent. Again, there were two people that was candidates that we had the option to vote for. I do respect other people who has gone out there and shared with us, right? One of my somebody that I'm well acquainted with, Japneet. Most of you might know him. He was on the show. He did not vote for either party, and he gave his reasons why. And again, we have to respect other people's perspective. We may not necessarily agree, but we have to respect them for their opinions and how they feel about certain things. Um, Sandra says that she didn't see anything herself, but I think I still needed to choose one. And that is your right, right? As a citizen, you have that right to go out and vote. I did not support Kamala Harris because she supported genocide against humanity. I agree with you, Maria. And again, that was one of my biggest thing against that party is I refuse to support a party that has been supporting and has been part of such a horrible crime in this day and time. And we as human beings, we our voices is not heard among them. So I think this election was a wake-up call for the Democrats and many other parties to come, that the people will speak up and their votes will make a difference. And I am sure many of the people who went out last week and voted, their votes was based on exactly what Maria said and what Kamini is saying. And I can assure you, many of the people who voted Republican are actually Democrats, but they refuse to do it based on their own personal challenges, the things that they cannot live with as human beings. So I respect you for speaking up and speaking your truth. We have to speak up today. So our future generation, we have a generation that's looking at us, our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our younger brothers and sisters, they're learning from us. Are we going to continue to be silent? We didn't vote, right? And we keep it in that we didn't vote because, but if they don't understand why we're not voting, how can they understand what's going on among us? It's important for us to have these discussions. A lot of Democrats went Republican this term. That's a fact. And I agree because, again, I think we're in a state of frustration. People are frustrated. They are confused. There's so many emotions that was involved in this last election. And people they voted based on their emotions. And I don't know if it's the best way, but I feel they felt it was the only way to do it. And they did that. Um, Sandra said that I didn't vote for Trump, but honestly, our school needs to put back prayers in classroom. Sandra, is that one of the things that he promised? Athena, the link was sent to your email. Let me get me. Is it Shamir? Okay, I'll get it for you, Athena. I'm gonna get it through WhatsApp for you. Let's see. I'm paying a lot in taxes and never get no benefits, but it's unfair that these people are getting $350 per week. Again, another one of the issues that people are not happy about, the migrants, right? We live in a country and we live in a time where things are tough. I can't tell you the amount of people that I know that complain daily about the cost of living, the price of gas, so many other things, and they don't have a lot of options. So, Tina, let me know if you get that. Sorry. All right. Hi, Granny. Welcome to the show. How are you? Did you vote, Granny? Granny, absolutely. I'll make sure I put you on the calendar for a upcoming show. Is there anything specific you want to discuss, Granny? Let us know. Oh, Granny wants a man, guys. Anybody out there can help Granny? She wants a man. Please let us know if this is possible with the new administration, if the new government, if you guys think that that's possible for Granny, let us know because it's important. Good evening to you, Rosanna. Let's see. Marisa, it's been so hard for so many since the pandemic. Biden brought the country down to its knees. I'm not a fan of Trump, but he will do more for the economy than Harris would have with her tax and price hikes. Again, guys, and uh, I 4 years ago, this would not have been a discussion that we would have. And today we're having this discussion because so many people have different emotions about both administrations, right? But they had to choose one, and they chose, and the result spoke for itself. It might not be ideal, but it's one of those situations where we have to accept what it is. Um, and people voted thinking that this will be best for our country. We didn't, the Biden administration did not lose by a little amount. It was a fairly good amount. So we can't say that it was just a little bit or whatever, because I look at numbers, right? It was a good number, right? So we have to now pick ourselves up. We have to find ways to live through the next 4 years, and we have to make the most out of it, right? We have to educate ourselves. We have to empower ourselves with the right information. What are your rights as a person who is living here, regardless if you came here through the legal system, meaning that you came with a visa and you overstayed your visa, regardless if you came here through the borders, whatever it is, you have rights, right? It doesn't mean that any person who is here without their status, he'll just come and pick you up and take you back. I can assure you that's not the case. And that's the fear in a lot of people right now. They're fearful that in 2 months, come January, ICE is going to show up at everyone's door and they're just going to take you back to your country. And that is not necessarily true. I am not an expert, so I do not want to give you guys the wrong information. So I have made connections to get you guys the right person to have this discussion with. And so we will have attorney Indira Damine on the show very soon, as soon as she's available, and we will have that discussion. Um, Kamini says that she agree. Shika-san, good evening to you. GT said both of them is a big jackass shot. I agree with Granny. I agree as a woman, right? And I would have loved, and you guys know how I feel about, women and our rights and all of that stuff. Had it not been the circumstances, 4 years in there, to be honest, I did not see a day where I was impressed with this woman, where I can say, look at the things that she did. Oh my God, I was proud to see her do this. I didn't see it, guys. I didn't see it. And that might just be me. I can clearly remember things when first ladies were in there, and they inspired me so much. Michelle Obama, the little things as first lady that she did with children, with so much things in the White House, so many, things that she did. I was impressed, and she was not even the vice president at that time. As first lady, I was impressed with what she did. You know, um, Even Ivanka Trump during Trump's reign, I was impressed with those women and what they did. I was not impressed with Kamala. So, no. Granny, I saw a few lonely men in the cool corner down the block. Take a pic. Uh, Sister Raza, maybe we can have some photos of those things that she has to take pics from. Maybe that will help her out a little bit. Um, Cher, good evening to you. How are you doing? You said both administrations are just corrupt, and we can probably have a few hour discussion on the corruption, on the things that we don't like about both administrations. There was no perfect administration to go out and vote for, and so, like I said, people were confused. He won by a landslide. He definitely won by a landslide. I actually slept on my sofa that night. I was up for a long time too, 4 years, and did absolutely nothing for the country beside bringing the country down. I agree with you. Um, Only the folks who came through the border seeking asylum will be sent back. Okay, fair enough. To someone's point earlier, they're getting 350. We live, we work, we pay taxes, and we get nothing. Let's just say we were between a rock and a very, very hard place. A great Fadia, and that's why I think it was important for us to have this discussion. I see many of you, many of my friends who always comment. You guys are so quiet on social media right now, and I know it's bothering you. Um, but we need to have these discussions, guys. You're not alone. We're all in it. We're all feeling it. We have family members. I might be a citizen. Most of you here might be citizens, but we have family members. We have dear friends. We have neighbors. We have people who are concerned right now. They're living in fear. They're dreading come January or February of next year what's going to happen to them. And no one should live in fear. All right. So I'll do my part. I'll get you an attorney that you can ask questions to. I'll keep it to a full hour, depending on how much time she has, so that you guys can ask your questions. All right. So I am happy that we had this discussion, but I know Athena is waiting. So let's bring her in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Athena Wynter.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. It's cold here in New York.
It is cold in Michigan. Very
We
cold.
we went from like, you know, 60s, 70s to like 30s today. I'm like, what happened?
I think it's about 42 here.
It was in the 30s early this morning and the kids were leaving for school.
Oh yeah, when I was on the way to the gym this morning, it was about that and I'm like, America for us. This is
Yeah.
what we signed up for.
Good night, Ken. Welcome. Athena, we just had elections, and I know you and I spoke about this briefly,
Mhm.
but how are you feeling? We're all immigrants. We all came here. We came with a big dream, right? You came here 20 something years ago. I came here 20 something years ago. We're little village girls that went to high school together. And we came here with big dreams in our heart. My situation was different. I was running away from a marriage and I came to this country because as a woman, I felt I had rights. What brought you to the US and how do you feel right now?
My story is a little bit similar. I came to the US because I wanted better for my child. I was just getting out of an abusive marriage and America. I came up on a scholarship from the University of Guyana, and
Mhm.
I was in Massachusetts. So my story has a similar tone to it. In terms of the elections, I have mixed emotions about the elections. I think both parties are both evils. I mean, we had two evils running. If you want to put it like that, we just had a lesser and a more evil. Um,
Mhm.
some people said, some believe that Mr. Trump is of God and he's God sent for America. And then you have some people that said VP Kamala did nothing for the US. And I felt the vice president, that's the vice president's role. The vice president is the shadow of the president, right?
I agree.
So for me, uh I look at how it affects me personally, right? And I came to the United States legal with a B2 visa, but and then transitioned to a student visa, then overstayed my time, and I benefited from the United States system, right?
Right.
As an immigrant. And
Right.
I am now a US citizen and I'm now paying taxes. And I have people from my country. I'm not interested in the other countries. I have people from my country, Guyana, who are coming to the United States for various reasons, like I did. And they may be running from crisis. And I feel like paying it forward with my taxes, however that is done, to help my fellow people, that's what I'm about, right? I'm not going to put myself in the seat of, oh, now I arrive and now I'm a citizen. These people are freeloading. I'm not going to put myself on that seat
Yeah.
because I was once in the seat where I needed help and I
Yeah.
lived off of the American government, right? So, but everyone is going to have their own opinions and we have to respect it, right?
We do.
We have to respect it. And that's where I go. I did not vote for Mr. Trump. I do not stand by his policies. I do not believe that what he has in place for America will benefit me, immigrant Athena, and my family. And that's just what I take because I am not supremacy, I'm not white, and I will not be inclusive, right? And some might say, well, oh, that's not what it is. So far, since he's been on the platform, since he's been to the White House today, since he's talking, I look at who he's chose for the cabinet. Disaster for the United States. We're a mockery right now.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. That's what people voted, and that's what we're gonna get. We just got to sit for the next 4 years and see what will come.
Exactly my point. We just have to sit it out, right? We do have to find ways to protect our loved ones, right? Family, friends, educate ourselves, empower ourselves with knowledge and understanding so we're not, just being arrogant about things. And we just have to know our rights, right? We have to learn, right? If we're so scared and we're so worried about ICE, we have to know our rights. We have to empower our family members and people that we love with the right information. So if they do get that knock, they know what are their rights as well, right? So these are the things
So
that we have to
I
make sure.
Shameeza, to be honest, not cutting you, I believe, and this is what I would tell my diaspora, my Guyanese diaspora, whether you're Indian of Indian descent, African American, whatever you are representing Guyana, and I'm all about my country. Right, I'm a diehard Guyanese. I was born there, and any Guyanese I run into, whether it's in Michigan, Toronto, wherever I run into Guyanese, I don't care what you look like. I get excited when I see that flag. I get excited because you're representing my land, right? And
Yes.
right now is the time that we all have to think about plan B. That's the
Yeah.
reality. We have to think about plan B and how we're going to educate our kids. We have to think about plan B and where our homes will be, because if you're listening to all these documentaries and what's being projected in the media, they're even talking about denaturalizing people, right? And people didn't realize what they voted for, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I go with facts. I
Yeah.
go with facts straight through. And it is what it is. If you don't have a land back home, you might as well go get your 100,000 and get your land back home, because we don't know what's about to happen. But we here for menopause, so let's plunge into menopause.
I agree with you, and I know most of the viewers. We're all immigrants at the end of the day, guys. We all came here through someone sponsoring us. I came here, like I said, I was running away from a abusive marriage, and when I came here, I had to get a green card. I did that through marriage, and I am here. So today, if I can find a way to help someone else or to educate them on their rights, I'll definitely do that. Um, Two, I only hope that these people know what they sign up for. All right, let's get right into it. Perimenopause. And for the guys who are watching, Mr. Sheriff, good evening to you. And for any guy that we have on here right now, you don't have to leave the live. It is, I feel it's an important It's important that you understand that, maybe you'll see certain things about your spouse or a family member and you don't understand it, and maybe tonight's show will help you to understand maybe the way the women around you are acting has nothing to do with them having an attitude, or are they just mean or whatever. It could be, or you might have seen changes in them recently and you don't understand why they're changing. Tonight's show might help you understand why the women around you are having these changes. So I encourage you to stay, listen, you might learn something important. GT Granny says that she need this tea. GT Granny, I think you're past like perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause. I think you're like past all of that. Tina, what do you think? I think Granny passed that stage.
Well, if she's over 51, there's a possibility. Some people go into menopause at a later age. So it depends on her age.
Okay. Granny, you gotta tell me your age.
And
So
these
look,
days we get young. We are grannies young. I'm a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother. But I'm not exactly young, guys, because I have to tell you, when I was, in my 20s and my teenage, I used to look at people in their late 30s and 40s as old.
Oh, well,
So
listen
I
to me.
am
I
old.
rebuke that. I rebuke that. I'm a young woman, founcing and blouncing, okay? I could still touch my toes.
GT Granny says she want the Guyana money, but GT Granny, you're probably gonna have to spend $1,000 to go to Guyana to get $500. That math is not mathing right now, GT Granny.
I thought they were coming out with an app for the US. I heard
Well,
some.
I did not officially hear that from the president or the vice president, or any member. Tomorrow we'll have the former president, Donald Ramotar, on the Guyana Dialogue. I'll ask the question. You guys can join me if you have questions for him as well. But I didn't hear that. If I hear or see that from one of them, then I'll actually believe that. Oh, GT Granny says she believes that she can get him money here. Okay, we'll probably have a better Christmas. Okay, so Sherry's asking an important question. She says, how does a woman know when she's going through perimenopause?
So, first of all, we have to identify what perimenopause is, right? And perimenopause refers to the natural or normal period when your reproductive cycle ends, right? Or when you're adjusting and your body is transitioning into a different phase or stage. Some people, 75% of people go through um, vaso symptoms, which is what you call hot flashes, night sweats. Some people go through that, but 25 or 15% do not have any symptoms of it, right? And perimenopause is deeply misunderstood as something bad. People look at menopause and perimenopause as something very bad, but it's not. Some people go through perimenopause as early as 35 years old. You can go through perimenopause very early. And some of the things that can contribute to that is thyroid disease or having a tubal ligation if you've tied your tubes, or if you have a hysterectomy. Those are some things that can affect, that can put you into perimenopause early. Some other factors that can put you into perimenopause is genetics, right? If our mother, or if we've had our period early or puberty early. So, some young girls may have had their periods at 11 or 12. Research have shown that those young ladies that had their period very early, chances are will go into perimenopause early, right? They will end those reproductive years early. So there's not any particular period of knowing when you're actually in perimenopause. There's not a specific testing. However, you can go to your OBGYN and ask for a follicle stimulating hormone testing. And when you do that testing, which is an FSH testing, it can actually show where you are. with your hormones and your reproductive, your ovaries, how much eggs you're producing, whether you're producing a small amount or and that will give a gauge of whether you have already started perimenopause or you're at menopause. Another way is having your period stop for 12 months. If you haven't had a period for 12 months straight, then you're in perimenopause. So those are some ways where you can identify going through perimenopause, to answer the question.
Got it. So I hope that Sherry, I hope that answers your question. Good evening to you, Munrani. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before on Get Real with Shameeza, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's topic. Who has another question for Athena? Neela says that it's interesting. Um, Again, like I said, we will have Granny. Can you tell us
Yeah,
if
so
you
men do go through not menopause, but men go through andropause, and
mhm,
that's it's similar to menopause. I
mhm.
don't have a lot of information on andropause because I don't work with men. I have a small population of men that I work with in my profession, and that's not to handle any kind of hormonal changes. It's primarily to deal with cardiovascular issues. So I don't know anything much about andropause, but I do know that men go through that.
Sandra is asking the big question with the word that I don't want to say, but I have to say it. Sandra's
Yeah,
asking, can you still have sex as normal?
absolutely. I think women's sex drive goes up during menopause most times, or perimenopause, and sometimes they get dry. They would stop lubricating as much as they should.
Mhm.
But that could be increased by diet. Old school therapies or old school recommendations back in Guyana and the Caribbean, they recommend once you're in your 40s, your early 40s, you increase your diet with okra, because okra, when you eat okra, it goes through your reproductive organs, and you keep that area nice and moist. But there's also over the counter things that you can purchase to keep that area nice and moist. But in terms of having sexual, yes, some women, I have seen some women's sexual drive decrease during perimenopause and menopause, right? Some women don't want to have sex, but for me, hell yes. Like, why wouldn't you want to have sex? Sex keeps you healthy, right? And
Yes.
women, it's taboo when women say, oh well, when I reach to age 40 or age 45, I'm not gonna have sex. Listen, that's the time your children are growing up, they're on almost out the door or on the way out or almost gone. Like, this is the time that you should be getting your groove back, right? And you should be letting those endorphins out and looking younger than ever, right? And some may not believe it, but sex makes your skin glow. So have it as much as you can, have it every day.
Every day?
Yes, why not?
Do you think now we spoke about men, right? Men going through andropause, as you said. Do they have anything sexually that, like how women, maybe you said they might be dry or they might have a low sex drive? Does men have any of those things? Is that some
Men
of their symptoms?
men has the opposite. Men goes through this season of wanting younger women. They go through that season of wanting more sex,
Interesting.
and it's an opposite reaction to what they go through, for what women go through. I just want to plunge into the question. Somebody says, what can you use to increase Mahendra, Athena? But somebody says, what can you do to increase that sex drive, right? And
Mhm.
so there one main thing medically that you can do is hormone therapy, right? Because a lot of time when that sex drive is gone, it could mean that your estrogen level is lower, right? So your OBGYN might increase some, put you some on some estrogen therapy, or your PCP might put you on some estrogen therapy, and that really helps with that. Or exercise, a lot of things that we go through, people don't realize that gut health contributes to a lot of things that we go through. And having a healthy gut health really helps us to stimulate brain activity and do a lot of things in our lives that we don't feel like doing. So making sure that you're maintaining good gut health is necessary as you start to age in your 40s.
Now, Tina, we'll go to some more of the questions in a little bit. Now, a common thing among Guyanese families, right,
Mhm.
is when the men get to a certain age, they want younger women. And like you said, women at a certain age, right, perimenopause or menopause, they don't have that sex drive anymore. Could could that be one of the reasons why in our in our Western or Guyanese household, we find a lot of times when men and women get to a certain age, like for example, when you said the kids are at a certain age, they don't have that connection anymore, and you see the men either leaving or they're having affairs with younger girls because the women don't want to do anything, they have no sex drive. Do you think that is one of the reasons why that is so common in not probably only Guyanese household, but many other households? Do you think that has an impact on it?
I think that's an excuse. I believe that if a man is going to go if he wants to go. And when a man gets to what we call a midlife crisis, you can be attractive, you can want sex 25 times a day if he wants to go out there and experience, because they're going through, remember, it's a midlife crisis. They're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting old, am I attractive to my woman anymore? So let me go out there and see if I am attracted to a younger woman. Let me see if it's different emotions. I can't speak
But
for a man, but
we're,
I have heard them say that, you know
right, which I know is very common. I've seen it, right? But just the way as women, we have all these symptoms, right? Where we have that dryness, or we have low sex drive. We have all these symptoms, which we're not wanting that. That comes on naturally. Men are not thinking but it's something that's happening in their hormones or something that's telling them, and they feel more attracted. It's all in our hormones, right? When young boys and young girls, they have things that's happening to them at a certain age, just the same way when they're men are going through that, or women, we have no control. It's how we feel. I'm sure a woman doesn't want to lie there and say, I don't want anything to do with my husband because I don't want to. It's how she feels naturally from inside. Do you think men, it's the same thing? They're getting those feelings just the way we can't control all of those things. Now we can do with like diet and all, but some women are not aware of it, right? And we're speaking about our past generation. Now we know what we can do. We're educating ourselves. But there's still women who are not having these conversations and are not aware of the things that they can do. So in those cases, do you think this is something that, maybe they have no control over, and that's why we have so much of those cases?
So conversation, I believe, I see the point that you're making. I don't want to not recognize that or acknowledge that, but conversation is necessary, and shows like what you're having right now is a form of educating women on how to handle situations like this. And to every woman that's going through this right now, that don't believe that you're beautiful anymore, that don't believe that you're attractive anymore, I want you to know that you are beautiful and you are attractive and nothing is wrong with you. This is a natural process that your body goes through, and it's not going to be like that all the time. It's just a process. Some people go through it for a year, some people go through it for 6 months, some people go through it for 3 months, and some people don't even know when they're going through it. They just transition, right? So I want to put it out there to let every woman know who's viewing this broadcast right now that you are beautiful, and these changes does not mean that you're not attractive to your man. However, the conversation is necessary, and don't be embarrassed about the conversation. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't tell my husband that I'm going through menopause or perimenopause because he's going to think I'm old, or he's going to think I'm no longer of good use for him. It's This is where you sit and you educate your partner. This is a phase of life that every woman will have to go through at some point. Even if he decides to leave you and go with a younger woman, that younger woman will go through this at some point. So it's necessary to have that conversation, right?
Um,
And even take your husband with you to your OBGYN or your primary care. If you don't feel like you're capable of explaining these changes, right? Have the conversation, take him to your appointment with you. And it's very important, just to me stress that every woman should be having a cervical check every year. You should be having a pap smear every year. You should be checking your organs, because once you stop having children and you stop using those reproductive organs, and there's so many things that can go on within your body with changes of hormones being fluctuating and stuff like that. There are all sorts of things that can happen. You can have fibroid, you can have cancers, you can have so many things happen if you don't take care of that area. So it's necessary to go for your annual checkup with your OBGYN and get your ultrasounds, your make sure that your
or
ovaries are okay and everything is functioning fine. So Shameeza, I think there are different approaches, but necessarily a conversation should happen.
happen. Um, I want to thank the men that are in the chat right now, men like Ken and Mahindra and Shahid. Thank you guys. It's something that a lot of men do not want to be part of. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't feel it's important. So I want to say thank you guys for being here. Ken says a lot of our gynaes feel after they reach certain age they should not have sex.
A lot of guys that age should not feel like they shouldn't have sex.
They should not have sex. And I mean, listen, when
There's a
I was
stigma
growing
when
up,
Go
I
ahead.
thought too, like in your 40s and stuff, like I couldn't look at, but when I was a teenager, I couldn't look at my parents and still think they were doing it.
Wow.
So I thought automatically when we get to a certain age, we stop doing that.
But you know what, Shamiza? And let's shift this conversation just for a little bit. I know you and I had this conversation yesterday, and we promised each other that we're not going to do this, but it's necessary to touch on it just a little bit. Um, our culture and its culture, we have embedded in our young women to not talk about sex openly, to not have sexual conversations at the table. We make it seem like sex is bad. Every human being that's around us came here by sex, and sex is a good thing. A lot of women, even on the internet, that we see cussing out people and always arguing with somebody, if you go in their private walls and you ask them how often they're having sexual intercourse, some of them is once a month and twice a month. They have a lot of buildup, they're stressed, so they look for people to prey on. They're not happy women. When you have a good sex life, people business does not become yours. Okay, people business does not become yours. I say, if you have a man, have sex. If you could have sex every night, have it. Jump up on the kitchen table. Make it interesting. Okay, make it, don't limit sex to just going in your bedroom and pulling up your comforter and under your sheet. Jump up on the bed, get in the car, go in the driver's seat and just sit down on the man. Go in the park, don't put on no underwear. Go in the park, go on the bench, sit down on the man and say, honey, let's sit down and have conversation. Write it. Do things to make your partner be interested in you. Okay, and stop with this taboo thing about sex is this and sex is that and sex, and then when the man go outside and you're blaming the man. Did you make it interesting? right?
I do. I love that. Thank you. Mahindra says that Athena, very good points. As I said, there is a general stigma and taboo about this topic in our society. Caribbean communities, more education is needed across the board and more discussions. I agree with you, Mahindra. Thank you for sharing that. Kalisha, welcome. I don't know if this is a topic that you want to be part of, but if my son is in the room, please cover his ear.
Listen, so many women don't even know what orgasm is. You have women that are married for 30 something years and 20 something years, and they have never experienced orgasm. And then you
Mm,
have men that are with women that don't even know when a woman is experiencing orgasm because he don't know what to do either. Right? You have men that just feel like they're gonna stand up and joke, 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 and the woman gonna feel good. You have to talk to a woman. You women. So men make love to women by sight on what they see. A woman, it's different. You have to connect to her emotionally. So you have to start making love to a woman before she even enter the bedroom. You have to say nice things to her. You have to flatter her. You have to give her gifts. You have to do so many different things, not necessarily expensive gifts, but these are things our Caribbean men don't know because their fathers didn't teach them. So you can't expect them to dish it out. So we have to teach them what is the right thing, right? We have to tell them what to do, but some of them hard ears, stick break in the ears. They don't want to take telling. When you, the woman, tell them, listen, man, when you coming in there, make sure your fingernail cut. Some of them want to come with a long, long fingernail and then pushing it down there. These are things that conversations need to happen. It's not just on the woman's part, it's the man too, because you have some man that just don't care. Once they get in fun, they don't want to take care of our private part and think that it's delicate, right? They don't
right.
want to understand where to reach it to take you to the climax. You, as a woman, you have to, in order for a man to take you to orgasm, you have to know what makes you get to an orgasm. And there we come to the next topic. Some women don't even know what gets them to an orgasm because they never played with themselves. They think masturbation is only for men, but you have to know your body. You have to play with your body. You have to know what will take you to the next level. If you can't pleasure your body, how you gonna tell the man to pleasure you?
I just take my husband and like get manicure and pedicure, guys. Just so you know. I just carry you over to the salon. I just tell the guy, give him the best manicure or pedicure. All right. I see Ken says women need, and I think this one is an important one. Woman needs to initiate sex too. And I think it's as much as we're saying, hey, men don't do enough, as women, we don't do enough. I think we think that it's a man's job to always initiate sex, and it could be the way we were brought up. Maybe we were not educated well on it, and whatever the reason. But that's a good point, Ken. Thank you.
Yeah,
Athena, what do you say to that?
I agree with that. But again, we have some women that just want to lay on our backs,
Yeah.
right? We want the man to always initiate. We don't want to become a different character in the room. Like we want to be called Shameeza all the time. We don't want to be called Queen Esmeralda, or come up with some fantasy name. Like ask your husband, who would you like to sleep with? If you had a celebrity, who would you like to sleep with? And we don't want to get into character. You know, we get jealous if our husbands say, well, Tony Braxton or Amita. What's the Indian?
Aishwarya Rai,
You know,
Kajal.
one of those movie stars. If our husbands say we have a fantasy, we get jealous. These people,
Mm,
he might never meet these people, right? But he has a fantasy, and
mhm,
you can recreate that in the room, right? You could buy the
mhm.
nice wigs, you could get dressed up, you could put on, you could get your oils, you could get your pancake syrup, you could get your what you call it, whipped cream, you can get your strawberries, you could make that room, you could get some candle and hot to light the candle and use the wax and put it on his back and massage him. You could get some ice, you could put it between the ball, the anus and you put it there and you blow it with some Vicks. You have all these different things to make your bedroom excited and initiate sex, right? So when the man come home, he don't want to leave. right? but
Mhm.
but then it comes back to the stigma of, oh, I can't do that because I miss goody shoes. He met me when I was a virgin. How he expect me to do that now? No, just like how you work to get this man to give you the ring when you were dating, it
Mhm.
continues after. The work
Right.
continues after. And if you don't want to do the work after, cat gonna eat your dinner, right?
Let's go eat your dinner. Woman, are you hearing? I think Shahid says that some of them women just want lie on them back. Let me see what he said. He says some of them women, the woman them have to dress to impress when he come home. To your point, get into different characters, you know. Um, I see Ryan Jeffrey. Good evening to you. I see you're having a good time with this conversation. Sandra wants whipped cream and petals on the bed and ice cream. Um, Ash is just having a good old time. Rani and Vishnu, good evening to you guys. Granny said it though. She like wax the balls. Okay, Granny. I don't know if at your age that's relevant still, but okay. Um, every folk have different strokes. I agree. And to Atina's point, it is important to know your partner and know what
Exactly.
is right for them, right? And the only way you can do that is by communicating what works for them, what works for you, and how you guys can work together to have that relationship. Ken says talking about eating, women should eat some pineapple so you can taste the spice or something. Um, Now, is that just a myth or pineapple? I've heard that many times.
No, pineapple, it's accurate. Pineapple goes through the, yes, it's accurate. The more pineapple you eat, because it's a soluble fiber, it passes through the body and it goes through your body fluids. So the more pineapple you eat, when somebody's into oral sex, they will taste that pineapple down there.
All right, ladies, grab some pineapple, put it into the smoothie, eat it fresh, however you like. Pineapple is good for you. So we learned a couple vegetable and some fruits tonight. We learned about pineapple. We learned about okra. Atina, is there any others that we can add to the list of things that these women need to get at the grocery when they do grocery next?
I think it, again, Shamisa, it comes down to that couple and what they're into, right? Um, I love to have sexual conversations because I grew up in a very strict Christian home, and a lot of conversations I couldn't have. And when I came to America, and a lot of my experiences I experienced here in the US, and I remember the very first time I went out with a guy, and he was like, we went out and he wanted to go down there and eat, and I was so angry about it. I felt disrespected because I was like, who does that? Like, who would want to do that? And then when I experienced it and I started talking in different languages, like I literally started speaking different languages, because I mean, I've never experienced something like that. I felt like when my toes went crippled, like, and then I'm like, this is something that we need to talk about, because there are women that probably never experienced this just like I did. Right? Because that
Right.
was my first time. I was maybe 23 or 24. I didn't know what the hell it was. Right? So I think it's very important in today, not saying that now today women don't do it. People still think it's something bad, right? So they don't want to have the conversation. But it's necessary to have the conversation, and it's necessary for us women to teach the younger ones, right? And to educate them. And if we have sexual conversations with our children at a very appropriate age, not too young, but I would say maybe from 10, 11, we start having these conversations, because this is where they see it on the TV, right? And this is where they have it in the conversations at school. If you start having it at home early, then people will not have the influence to tell your child anything about sex, because you would have educated your child from home. And that's the one of the biggest mistakes we make as Caribbean moms. We try to shelter our children and be like, oh no, they're not ready, they're not ready, they're not ready. And when you sit and you have conversations with your child, you're blown away at the information, the wealth of knowledge they have on the topic. So I believe having the conversation early and not making it seem like this is a bad thing, but making sure that it's when you give it the information, it educates them, and not necessarily talking like how I am talking right now, because I'm talking in a fun way. I mean, I'm giving information, but at the same time, I'm entertaining your audience. But when you're having the conversation with your children, it's necessary to have it to educate them so that they don't go out there and take what is in the world. Right? Because now the new thing is anal. Like, that's a big thing right now. Like, some women don't enjoy sex, in my patient population I'm talking about. And I don't have Caribbean population, so I don't have any. I live in Michigan. There's not much Caribbean people here, right? There's Caribbean people, but not a lot, enough for me to talk about. And in my population, my patient population, you hear all the time about anal sex and how important it is in their relationship, right? And then you have these conversations and you hear, wow, I used to always say, coming from Guyana, I going back to heaven with me back door closed. But now back door is a thing, right? Backdoor is
Yeah.
a thing. So now you have to educate yourself, like, what should I do or what shouldn't I do if I'm going to allow someone to go into the back door? Because if the person goes into the back door and then comes back into the front door, there's so many infections that can happen and all these different things. So it's necessary conversation for your health benefit, and not so much to please your partner, but your partner understanding that when you go back door, he got to go and wash up, because he can't go back door and then come back front door, because then you getting sick. If I'm making sense, I don't want to.
No, GT Granny is just, she has me cracking up. She, she just has me cracking up with her comment. Um, but yeah, it was, why are you in the comment? Guys, I have a few items to add to that list, Ash. You need whipped cream. You need you need petals, preferably red petals. Um, you need some strawberry whipped cream. All that was mentioned. I miss all of that.
Yeah, you just have to spice it up, and sometimes your husband might say, I'm not into that, right? But then when you introduce it to him and you tie him up to the bed and you introduce him to that, like, he wants it all the time, right? Like, instead of you arguing with your husband and being this nagging person, you and him have a disagreement today in the house, and you have a disagreement, you stay quiet. You wait till you go to the bedroom and you take it out on him. This is when you're gonna take over. You're gonna initiate it, you're gonna tie you up, and you're gonna do
Mhm.
your thing. You're gonna take it out
To
back in a
Ken's
nice way,
point,
right?
yeah. To Ken's point, yeah. Initiate it and take over, right?
Yes, there are many ways to kill a cat, but we as women, we just have to make it exciting. And I think men of today also, we cannot ignore the fact that we have a lot of men that don't know how to make love to us. They don't know how to talk to us. They don't know how to respect us.
Well, the truth is, and I know we're sticking to our community and our type of people, right? Because um we have traditional men and women, right? Whether their belief is, their job is not to speak properly to the woman. Their job is to be a man and really be a man, and that's really their thing. We do have to recognize these things are still happening in homes, right? Men have their macho ways, and sometimes it's not the easiest way, or it's not the most appealing way to get to a woman, but it still exists in homes, right?
It
Traditional
does.
Guyanese men, they feel like they're the masters and they can speak however they want to their woman, and it's
Not in
just what it
America.
is.
It's just not acceptable in America. And women, you need to get your bullet. You need to get your rose. You need to get all the different version of roses. I mean, these are things that will make you feel good. And if you don't know what rose is, just go to Amazon and put rose in there, okay? And when you've experienced rose, you'll be able to tell your husband what he needs to do. Because right now, Rose and your husbands are in competition. Okay? Rose and your husband, your husband and ladies, if you don't know how to gyrate when you on top, put your machine in spin cycle. Okay? And sit on top of your washing machine and put it on spin cycle. After you finish doing that, you are master at what you have to do. Rhythm and all.
Rhythm and all. You guys heard that. Going back, Athena, and like I said yesterday, we had a discussion, and I said, listen,
You see
we're
how
gonna.
I'm putting it over very nicely.
Yeah, we did say that we were gonna try to stick to menopause, but the topic of sex will enter the conversation at some point. We will touch on it, and so we've discussed menopause, how women feel, and all that stuff, what they can eat, what they can do. What are some of the other things that you feel women who are in perimenopause that they are not aware? Like, what's the biggest taboo out there in regards to perimenopause?
I think we touched the main thing of one of the main taboos out there with perimenopause. Women believe that once they're going through menopause, they can't have sex, right?
Hmm.
And it's not true. They believe that their body they will not be attracted to men anymore, and this is over. It's time to relax. This is a done deal. I've done my part as a woman. I've made my children. Now I'm going through perimenopause. I don't need to, because I will not need this man wouldn't need me. That's not true, right? But a lot of people have made menopause to be this bad thing, but it's a normal process every woman goes through. And I'm trying to, because I did a whole PowerPoint to talk tonight, so I
Yeah,
want to run through my
yeah,
PowerPoint
let's
to
go.
make sure I touched everything that I wanted to touch.
Razia, really? That is good to know. GT Granny said that y'all need to wax I down there too, ladies, smooth and clean. GT Granny, do you wax down there too? I thought after a certain age, nothing happens down there anymore in terms of hair growth. Ash, you're getting the stepping stool. Na fall down, y'all.
So Shamise,
At
I
age
think
the sexy.
I think I touched everything. I spoke about the foods. Oh,
No,
I did not mention one of the things to help with the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause is black cohosh, right?
black cohosh. Guys, get your list. Add that to it.
So you could purchase black cohosh from I don't know if you guys have it in New York area, which is the health food stores, what they call it. Oh my God, it's not coming to me. We have a lot of them in Michigan, but any store that sells health food stuff like herbal supplements, that's the word.
Herbal stuff. Yeah.
Herbal supplements, you can find it. I see Walmart, some Walmarts carry them, but black cohosh is good, and you have the noni juice, which is popular in the Caribbean for that. I find I get relief from the black cohosh. I had a tubal ligation at 36, so I started perimenopause very early, right? And some people go on for years. Like I said, some people go through it for years, 5 years, 4 years, and some people 3 months. um I am now transitioning to menopause. I just hit my 12 month of no period, because
What?
you have to miss 12 months for it to completely be menopause.
So you're officially in menopause.
Last month, yes, last month was my 12th month.
You're not even 50 yet, Athena.
No, but I have a tubal ligation, so it's
So
expected
that was,
to
yeah,
happen.
one of the things. So, like you said earlier, and ladies, if you're listening, if you have any thyroid issues, if you had your period at a very young age, And there were some other things that you mentioned. You could, at a very, in your 30s, and we had this discussion where as early as 35, some women are experiencing perimenopause.
Yes, and when you're going through it, you have a lot of mood swings. Um, you because it's our hormone fluctuation, so you have a lot of mood swings, anxiety, cravings. Just like if you're pregnant, there are different things that you go through, different women go through. No woman goes through the same things. Everybody experience perimenopause differently. Like my mom, all she had was migraine headaches, right?
Got
um,
it.
Whereas for me, I get night sweats. I have to change my sheets every morning. I wake up with soaking sheets, right? So
Soaking sheets.
yeah, my bed would, it's almost like water flood my bed. Like I wake up every morning, literally. I think prior to the experience, I probably used to purchase 4 or 5 sheets for my room. Now I have sheets for every day just because of what these changes that I'm going through with my body, right? And but not every woman will experience that. Every woman, menopause and perimenopause looks different to people. And something that helps to cool the body down is peppermint oil or peppermint. You spray that peppermint on your body and it really it helps to calm you down. Some people go through insomnia when they're going through it, so they're up all night, they can't sleep. These are all symptoms of perimenopause that some women go through, right? And you might go through sleep aid. Some people go through depression. Some people go through something that's called sundown. So during September to December, or the winter months, you're
Yeah.
depressed, you don't want to wake
Yes.
up, you're in bed all the time. And these are some of the things that women go through during perimenopause. But one of the things that help you to get up is taking vitamin D. We are
Vitamin D.
we are from Guyana, and we are used to the sunlight, right? And we're in the United States and we only have the sunlight during a period of time. So when that time stops, even though we have the sunlight in the winter time, it's not enough to give us the vitamin D that our bodies need for energy conversion. So it's
Right.
necessarily once you reach age 40. As a matter of fact, I normally tell my patients for 35 and up, you take 1,000 of vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
You
Yeah.
take, it wouldn't hurt you. But again, it's always good to have that discussion with your doctors, because sometimes some people can't have vitamin D if they have cardiovascular issues, or they're on a lot of meds, right? Then you
Right.
need to have that conversation with your doctors. And it's very important too, Shameeza. I want to touch on something that a lot of people overlook, because our diet includes a lot of rice,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of rice and a lot
And
of
roti.
flour in our
Mhm.
diet. We have to watch our glucose intake, right? Because that affects a lot of our issues of metabolic syndrome, where our stomach is high. When we have a stomach, most likely there's something going on with our liver and our pancreas, right? And we have to, and diabetes is where our pancreas just don't work properly. That's just what that means, right? And
Right.
so it's very important for us to watch what we're eating as we get to that age 40. We want to eat more fruits and veggies versus starches. We want to include fiber in our diet. We want to have soluble fiber. And if we're not eating it in the foods, then we want to take a supplement that's a fiber, right? And then we want to walk every day for at least 30 minutes. Hi, Linda. We want to walk for 30 minutes or 45 minutes every single day, even if it's inside of your house and you're walking the stairs, right? And you put a timer on and you walk the stairs. But it's very important to do cardio, because it helps with that glucose that we have in our bodies, right? So yeah, those are some of the things that I wanted to touch on.
Got it. I think Sandra was asking earlier. She says, Athena, how do you feel that you're full menopause?
Um I don't like to lie because I wouldn't remember the lie. I went through a period, Sandra, of feeling like I'm getting old. I cried. I felt, even though I'm in the medical field and I know this is something that my body is going through and it's natural, the human part of me still felt like something was going wrong with my body. And I felt like, oh my gosh, should I be expecting death soon? Am I dying? I had these thoughts, right? And I spoke with my therapist, and I'm like, man, I went to my doctor and she was like, I'm officially menopausal. Like, I'm dying soon. Like, I need to go make sure my house is in order for my kids. And, those are some of the conversations that and the emotions that I felt in that moment. Right. But I'm okay now. I'm okay now.
No.
I'm okay. And that's my truth, and I know a lot of women felt those emotions if they've experienced, um, if
Menopause.
menopause. But in adding to addition, a lot of people have been asking me, because I've lost 47 pounds in the last 4 months, right? And a lot of people have reached out to me in my following, and they're like, what are you doing? What helped you to lose the weight? And I wanted to share with your audience, one, when you have a stomach, which I do, chances are you have a fatty liver, right? And something that helps with fatty liver and to help the fat to cleanse from your liver is doing intermittent fasting and taking something called milk thistle. um, when you take milk thistle, it helps to keep your liver healthy, right? In addition to that, I'm on a GPL-1 type of drug called Zepbound, and that has really helped me to lose weight because of my thyroid issues, right? And when you have thyroid issues, it's much more difficult to lose weight, and so I needed a little boost from a GPL-1 product, and that's helping me tremendously. And if
It's
you go
is
ahead.
that a prescription something? Is that something your
It is,
doctor? Is it something?
it is prescribed, and you have to for your insurance to pay for it, you have to have had a A1C level of above 5.7. You would need to have either hypertension or high cholesterol. um what else, you obesity, with your obesity being over 36, or
Mhm.
not 36, 33. So if you fall into those categories, then yes, you'll be eligible for it to be paid for fully by your insurance. Have I tried dandelion tea? I drink dandelion tea every day because dandelion tea is good for your kidneys. And
Got it.
I was born with a congenital kidney issue that I found out. I didn't know about it until 2 years ago. And so, to keep my kidneys and to keep my EGFR, which is what measures your kidney function, to keep it healthy, I drink dandelion tea. I get my dandelion from Guyana, actually, and my mom ships it to me, and I drink the tea every day. It's
Dandelion.
very
What's
good.
the Guyana? What's the plant in Guyana? What is it called?
That's it. No, is it
Dandelion.
called dandelion in Guyana? Yes, I think it's called dandelion in Guyana.
Is it that yellow looking flower?
It has a yellow flower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Razi, I want to take this comment. Razi says that I really feel blessed. Got no symptoms whatsoever, thanks to my years of exercising on lots of water all the years. Good for you, Razi. I'm happy to hear that. Now, um, good evening to you, Linda. Thank you for joining us. Granny went to bed, I believe, guys, because she was waiting for one of her boyfriend for call. She was waiting at the home phone, and she had her pampers on, waiting for the phone call. So, good night, Granny. Hope you have a peaceful night of sleep. Athena, I do want to continue the conversation. We did go over for quite some time, but that's okay. I
Were
think
you right here?
we should have a follow-up session. We can get into menopause, and we can also have a complete discussion on sex. So if you guys would like to see those shows and any other topic on Get Real, please reach out to comment, let me know, message me like you do Let us know what topics you'd like to see next. Get Real with Shameeza is going for the next, I believe, I will say about 7 or 8 weeks. So sometime into the end of January or early, end of December, early January is when we'll end this season. But I do want to encourage you guys. It's the holidays. Shows like this is possible through our sponsors. So please support these business. Right now we have businesses like Mantra, Kaicho Restaurant. We have Sibyl's. So it's Veggie Castle. Guys, please go out and support these business because they're the ones who support shows like this so that we can make sure that we're able to bring the program to you guys. So I want to thank you guys, right? Asif, if you're watching, please come down. You have to shut us down. Athena, before we go, GT Granny is actually here still, and she says that sex show is very important. Thank you, Granny. And
It is very important. Shamisa, I am not a sponsor of your show for your business, but I want to add that if anyone is looking for women accessories for the holidays, for
Mhm.
their families, for gifts, you can check me out. I have a large plethora of jewelry and they're affordable. So you can check me out.
Athena, please have some photos or something, tag me so that we can all, support your business. And guys, it's the holidays. Let's support. I know Amanda was on earlier. She has a small business where she sells black cake. It's the holidays. Support her. We have so many other women-owned business and small business. Let's support these business during the holidays. Let's keep those
Absolutely.
business going, and just simply write to them and tell them thank you. We you know we're here to support your business. And like always, I want to thank you guys. Atina, before you go, what message would you like to leave us with tonight?
First, I want to say thank you to your audience for allowing me the opportunity to come and share my experience. I didn't quite introduce myself and what I do because we plunged into election.
Yes.
But my name is Athena Wynter, and myself and Shameeza go way back. We went to school together, over 30 something years of friendship. And I can speak so many good things about her. But she's a woman of class and dignity, and I'm so proud and integrity, and I'm so proud of what you're doing. My professional life, I am a population health coordinator. So what I do is I help women and men to get healthy. Women who are diagnosed with morbidities like hypertension, diabetes, and all these different things. I navigate their care. I work for Michigan's #1 hospital, which is Michigan Medicine, University of Michigan. And in my casual life or my private life, I have a business and I have a coaching program where I help women to heal from domestic violence. And I also have a jewelry business where you women can look beautiful. But I want to encourage you women to always remember you are beautiful, you're
Thank
smart, you're intelligent, and you are worthy of love. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're not worthy of love. Whatever you're going through in your life, in your relationship, in your job, whatever it is that you're experiencing, always remember every time you look yourself in the mirror that you are worthy of everything good. Thank you for having me, Shamiza, and thank you, audience, for your support.
Thank you, Athena. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here this evening and for all the laughs, all the information that you shared with us tonight. I'm sure someone out there needed to hear those words that you spoke tonight, and you've definitely leave an impact on many lives tonight. Good evening to Auntie Sandra. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Amanda, like I said, guys, she has black cake, and we have Nad. Nad, she does catering for Suriname's food. So if you guys would like to contact her, she
Oh my
is
God,
on my
does
Facebook.
she sell symbol? Is it symbol or sambal?
I'm not sure. Maybe
You know, we have
Amanda.
a
I know
lot of
Amanda.
Suriname. It's made.
Suriname
It's Suriname's food. It's
food.
made with
Yeah.
Um,
She's
but
out in the Bronx, but she delivers here in Queens. So if you place your orders during the week, she'll get it out to you on the weekends, guys. I think
Samba, you see,
Samba. Yeah.
Ashiana says it.
Thank you, Ash.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
that's
you.
my favorite. Ashiana, you might need to do a video to make that so I can see how to make it, girl, because
Yes, and Ash.
I get all the
Thank you,
Ashiana's
guys.
recipes.
Definitely. Um, Sandra, she is in South Ozone Park. I can definitely send you her information. And I would love for you guys to support these business. Again, I thank you guys for watching. And I thank you for taking the time for being so engaged in tonight's conversation. Athena, thank you. Happy holidays. I can't believe we're at the point now where we're saying happy holidays already. Um,
Already.
Thanksgiving is right around the corner, guys.
Who
Next
has the
week,
black?
Amanda Can. She has black cake, one of the best black cake.
Oh, I think she's on my page. I'm gonna reach out to her because I don't know how to make black cake. I need some black cake.
And we have many others. So guys, I'll put a list out probably later in this week of the businesses that you guys need to support, if you want to, of course. But that's it for now. Next week we will be back with another episode of Get Real with Shameeza. We will have Rohan Narayan. He is an author of a man's book where he is telling his story, and I would love for you guys to join us next Wednesday for that. And I am so excited. There is more to come. Just stay tuned. Until next time, I'm Shameeza Ali, and this is Get Real with Shameeza. Good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye, Athena.